Good morning, everybody. Today, the presentation is on Corona and its impact on tourism. The title of the presentation is Corona Pandemic Impacts and Challenges of Kerala Tourism. This is being presented by Dr.Dileep M.R. along with Ms. Divya Das, Assistant Professors at the Department of Travel and Tourism Management, Parsiraja College, Pulpalli, Wayanad. It is presented for EBSP Ek Bharat Shresth Bharat of RUSA, Cochin University of Science and Technology, QSAT. Let's go into the details of the presentation. As all of us know, this is one of the largest crises we are facing. The world is experiencing one of the worst crises in the recent history of humankind. The world has never seen the spread of an infection as fast as Corona. Within a period of just more than 100 days, this pandemic could spread to more than 200 countries, and the infection is being spread to millions of people. Travel and tourism industry is probably the hardest hit sector as it depends completely on the movement of the people. As per an early estimate of World Travel and Tourism Council, there may be a loss of 50 million jobs and a revenue loss of $3 trillion. Kerala is the first state in India that has reported corona infection. Tourism sector in the state faced unprecedented impacts due to the pandemic spread. Let's go into some of the instances from the history, and it's part of the literature review. Foreign Hosey stated that tourism is an industry which is highly susceptible to negative events. And since there is always a crisis somewhere in the world, the sector appears to be under an almost permanent threat of yet another crisis looming. It's also stated that as travel industry is unpredictable and many external factors can create a crisis, it is almost certain that a crisis of some sort will occur at some point of time. Crisis is very important. Whenever a crisis occurs, we need to have crisis management, and it is important at this juncture, and it aims primarily to minimize the impact of an unexpected event. It's defined as crisis management as an ongoing, integrated, comprehensive effort that organizations effectively put into place in an attempt to first and foremost understand and prevent crises and to effectively manage those that occur, taking into account in each and every step of their planning and training activities the interest of their stakeholders. In the history of humankind, there are plenty of instances on which pandemics caused severe damages. Traders carried diseases like smallpox from Egypt to India during the first millennium BC. From there, it swept to India, into China in the first century AD and reached to Japan much later in the 6th century. Returning crusaders provided a way of smallpox to spread through Europe in the 11th and 12th century. That means through the travel that is spread to different continents after even centuries. Plague was another type of pandemic that took away the lives of many millions. In the spread of the same also, travel and transportation played a very key role. Movement of people as part of war also caused spread of the diseases. One of the largest and most devastating pandemics of 20th century, the last century, was that of influenza virus that happened in 1918. Probably the first well-documented influenza pandemic of that century that had caused an estimated death toll of 50 million people. The movement of troops during World War I during 1919 caused the spread of influenza to different parts of the world, and it continued to spread as pandemic strain of influenza through travel. Tourism, a form of travel, is also proven to be a contributor in the spreading of the epidemics and pandemics geographically, even across continents. There are many other instances that affected tourist demand in the past 2 decades due to the pandemics. The SARS outbreak has severely impacted the inbound travels from China to South Korea. Avian influenza epidemic, which is another one that happened in almost in the same era, which first infected people in Hong Kong and later in China and received worldwide attention in 2004. Origin in Mexico, namely the H1N1 swine influenza, it's also called swine flu. That epidemic, which received world attention in 2009, 2014-15 Ebola virus outbreak in countries like Guinea, Liberia, Sierra Leone has had a negative impact on tourism and hospitality industry, particularly in Sierra Leone. In 2016, World Health Organization declared Zika virus as public health emergency of international concerns. Sierra Leone, a country where Ebola virus had widespread, and all the flights to and from Sierra Leone were suspended during those times. Nipah virus was first identified and also spread widely in many regions. Kerala is one of the states of India well known for its tourist-friendly. It's well known as a tourist-friendly region. It was also affected by Nipah virus in 2008, and that was so badly hit with regard to tourism. The corona pandemic has already shattered the social, cultural, and economic circumstances of the people in the affected regions, and the impacts are yet to be analyzed properly. The World Tourism Organization claimed that the tourism has been the sector hardest hit by the crisis and has proposed an agenda for recovery. The rising unemployment, the economic damage, and instability, and the unprecedented size of government interventions to address the economic crisis all point to travel, tourism, and hospitality being pillars of many economies around the world. The coronavirus pandemic will deeply affect the tourism and travel sector. It is already clear now that the impact of corona pandemic on the tourism industry is going to be devastating, and even with a higher magnitude to what happened in the case of SARS in 2003 2 3 time. This current study is having the following objectives. One is to examine the present status of Kerala tourism due to corona effects, to find out the socio-economic impacts of corona crisis in the travel and tourism sector in Kerala, to identify the challenges of the sector that is being faced to overcome the crisis. Let's go through the scenario of corona pandemic in Kerala. Kerala is the first state in India that was spread with corona infection. It was on January 30, the first case was reported. The first 3 cases were reported in Kerala. All of them were traveled back from Wuhan, China. This is how the corona was spread into India. On 1st February 2020, World Health Organization has declared the recent novel coronavirus as an epidemic affecting 23 countries as an international public health emergency of international concern. Kerala government has taken the recommendations of World Health Organization more seriously, and control measures were strengthened in the state. The state has been successful in implementing strategies to contain the spread of virus compared to most of the places across the world. Kerala has the highest COVID recovery rate and lowest mortality rate in India. The state generally has a reputation that the safest place to be in India, especially during the time of health calamity. The coronavirus or COVID-19 pandemic is massively affecting Kerala's tourism industry. The Kerala's tourism industry has been struggling for the last few months after COVID-19. Bookings were completely cancelled as the coronavirus outbreak has affected the whole world with travel restrictions. Tourism hotspots are wearing a deserted look without foreign tourists and domestic travelers keeping away from amid COVID-19 scare. Kerala had attracted around 1.96 crore domestic and foreign visitors in 2019. That shows the magnitude of tourism in the state. And with the total earnings from tourism stood at around 45,000 crores. But with COVID-19 aftermath, this is estimated to come down drastically. The methodology adopted for the study is the study has been undertaken using interviews from a sample of 10 experts in the field of travel and tourism in Kerala. The sample has been chosen using a purposive sampling. They have been contacted using email or mobile communication applications for conducting the interviews. The structured questions were primarily seeking the issues, challenges, and the possible measures to be undertaken to overcome the situation. The response collected was analyzed and interpreted well to deduce the inferences. The impacts are the following. Based on the inferences from the analysis of the interviews, the issues the industry facing are The industry is facing the deepest and unprecedented crisis. Travel is completely stopped, and associate industry is forced to shut indefinitely. International tourism shall be stopped for a long term indeed, compared to domestic tourism. Many businesses will enter into bankruptcy. That's a major issue the industry will be facing very soon. Businesses at all levels are in zero revenue period and cash flow is completely stopped. No clarity of way forward and completely uncertainty prevailing in the industry environment. There is a heavy demand loss. That means almost zero demand right now. And the supply, the industry is facing deepest crisis and eradicated supply is a phenomenon seen right now. Another problem is the erosion of capital, where money is not flowing for the investment, and even the low interest investors are feeling a kind of aversion for investment in tourism. Large scale unemployment is another problem that is being facing, and particularly in the small and medium sectors, that too is an unorganized sector. It is facing heavy loss, employment loss at all levels. Actually. Tourism seasons will be drained for a couple of years, and price hike, scarcity of commodities, increasing of travel expenditure, including flight charges, are going to affect badly the world tourism as well as Kerala. The markets of Kerala tourism, primarily the foreign markets, may not be ready for having travel propensity very soon. The current marketing strategy of targeting previous markets is going to face troubles because our markets are going to be different. The existing markets will be having severe problems as of now, particularly in the case of international tourism. So the main issue noted here is the inability of the existing markets to commence travel very soon. The challenges, what we face is actually, one is the economic environment is going to be a major challenge for Kerala tourism because the economic circumstances in the markets have to be changed. The economic circumstances of Kerala also have to be changed. We need to have more investment, more capital has to flow, and in the markets there has to be enough money for, because tourism is a sector that is depending upon discretionary income. The amount of money that need to be in the hands of the people, those who have travel propensity, need to be high. So after this pandemic crisis, I don't think people will be having much income for spending for travel. Psychological aspects are too much. Travel motivations will be there. A lot of dissatisfaction will be there. A lot of fear will be there for travel, and another challenge will be to revive the financial situations. How to revive is a big issue. Negative investment climate, as stated before, that is a major challenge. That will be a major challenge in the tourism sector, even in Kerala, for the maybe for a couple of years. Possibility of recurrence of in pandemics is another issue because pandemics are not just happening once in a while. It may happen again and again. Maybe the magnitude may be different, but can happen again. Challenges of tourism from tourism market from China, European countries, and USA. That is a major problem because they are the major tourism generating regions. Their economies are completely shattered. So how much they can revive their travel, that would be a big issue. And we need to have a restructuring of the sector, re-engineering of the structure. We need to completely modify the tourism sector to cope up with the challenges and issues. We need to have organized, unorganized sectors to be brought into the organized category, and we need to have manage the employees, those who have been starving, facing issues of financial issues. All kind of problems will be there, and we need to have more sustainable forms of tourism. And confidence building among investors and employees is a major challenge. Naturally, it will be a major challenge. Another issue is actually the destinations will be having a very negative image. Kerala is also will be having a negative image because that was first affected state as far as Corona is concerned. So the image of the destination is a major criterion, concern, and determinant for travel decision making. And managing the media from spreading the negative image is also a major issue, major challenge. We need to, because there are plenty of media, social media, online medias are there, and even the print and television media are there. That we need to have some kind of control over them to have positive news stories spread across the world to give a positive image for the state. We need to still stimulate the small and medium sectors, enterprises in the state, because tourism, as far as tourism is concerned, that is major. That constitutes the largest share of businesses in a destination. Technology, use of technology is a challenge. We need to use, for example, we need to have more virtual tourism categories as much as possible. Western countries have already started virtual tourism phenomenon massively. Marketing is a major challenge. As I said, we will be having a major issues for marketing because our current marketing, we cannot focus on them because they'll be having plenty of issues. Maybe domestic tourism and the tourists from Kerala, we need to market more to visit the destinations. Lack of motivation among employees is a psychological aspect. We need to uh, bring them up that they should have a feel that tourism is a sector where they can work. Otherwise, if they are under the impression that tourism sector will be causing job loss at any point of time, they may hesitate to join tourism sector immediately. So then we need to motivate them again. And we need to have a change in the confusion among the travelers and the psychological fear of travelers. We need to change, and the loss of market we need to address. And from the study, from the interviews, what we understand, what are the possible way outs and opportunities, what we are facing, some of them are listed here. We need to promote the domestic tours as international tours would be very, very difficult for to have in the immediate future. So we need to promote maximum domestic tours, that too from within Kerala. Virtual tours have to be maximum in order to create interest in the destination. We need to, because virtual tours can be gone across the world through the online media. So it would be very good to have kind of reviving and sustaining the tourism vibe of the state. Online interactions in devising strategies, we can have maximum. Extended moratorium of loans. Definitely loans is a problem for most of the businesses, where most of the businesses will be running with loans and all. So moratorium is already there, but we need to have extended moratorium for another maybe many months even. Issuance of more loans for businesses, including the small and medium unorganized sectors, also we need to have. Deferring the payments to the government till the financial situation gets normalcy. That is another thing. For example, water bills, electricity bills, and all these things we need to have kind of deferment. Financial welfare packages for the employees in the unorganized sector is important for enhancing the confidence of the employees to work in the sector again. We need to change our marketing strategy completely and encourage professionalism in every aspect of tourism. We need to promote more special interest tourism categories. Due to this, people will not be afraid much to travel. We need to diversify the products. Naturally, Kerala tourism is not very famous for diversifying recently compared to the 2090s and all. Travel insurance maybe with better demand, and ensure premium level media management, and the industry needs liquidity for the short and midterm to help fix the course during the lockdown period, as well as for rebuilding business from the scratch. This is what we would like to say. It's actually a working paper. We need to have more info because the impacts are not fully analyzed yet. This is based on an interview, so definitely more has to come, and the impacts are yet to be completely analyzed. Thank you very much for the patient listening, and all queries are welcome. You can send emails, or you can just mail to me, or you can just contact me through other media as well. Thank you very much.